Hello fellow map makers, welcome to another live map making session. I hope you can hear me fine. My soundbar seems to indicate I am audible. Hopefully it arrives over there. If not, please let me know in the chat. Yeah, there's the notification from Sue that everything is working fine. Excellent. Thank you very much, Sue. I'm Ralf Schemmern of Fantasy Software, and this is our weekly live map making session where we do a little map making most weeks from 6 to 7 my time and whatever time it is your part of the world. First off, my apologies for last week's rather short notice cancellation. That's just because I had a bit of a cold and wasn't feeling that well that evening and wasn't up to a live video. So we're doing the topic we are planning for last week today. And also a couple of announcements. While we're mapping here, there's still a Humble Bundle running over at humblebundle.com for our base software together with a variety of add-ons, depending on what level of support or purchase you do there. And if you want to check that out, even if you already have Campaign Cartographer, it's a great way to get quite a bunch of add-ons to a very affordable price. So that might be something of interest to you. I think it's running on December 5th or even longer. I'm not entirely sure right now, but it's on for a few more days into December. And the second announcement is I will be at the Dragon Meat show in London this weekend on Saturday. It's a little fairly small convention in London. We just used to go there because it was originally founded together with some companies and Fantasy Software. We are not directly organizing or doing that anymore, but we are still happy to go there and haven't been able to for the last few years since COVID. So I'll be there for the first time for quite a few years now. And perhaps I can see some familiar faces again. Used to meet a few Campaign Cartographer users there all the time. So see if you can stop by. Please do so if you happen to be in the UK and the general London area. And that also means, because I'll be over in England for the week afterwards, there will be no live map making session next week. I can already tell you that. I'm just going back to Germany on Thursday, and I'll not be back in time for a video session. Yeah, thank you, Remy, for sharing the Humble Bundle. That's up there in the chat now. And I should probably also put a Dragon Meat link in the show notes. Just a sec. There's our link to Dragon Meat. If you're interested in that, take a look where it happens and what is going on there. All right, but let's get to the mapping today. I'm looking at a nice example map from the Naomis Floorplans style, a style by Naomi van Doren, a fantasy map maker who's done this beautiful style for us in the past. And it's actually part of the Humble Bundle that's currently running. That's why I picked it out. And I don't think we've done a video on it yet. Yes, no, not that kind of Dragon Meat. Though there for the early Dragon Meats, there was a very nice cartoon and advertisement by John Kovalich of Dog Tower fame on the Dragon Meat convention, playing on the Dragon Meat and Dragon Meat like the flesh name, and that was a fun one. Google John Kovalich and Dragon Meat. Either in the flesh variation or in the meeting variation, and you'll probably find it somewhere online. All right, and the Naomis Floorplan style is a dungeon drawing style, but with a special focus on floor plans. For example, like you see the inn here, or the tavern that's shown on screen. And I want to show you how to make a little tavern with that style in tonight's session. And if I get the time, even perhaps to do a little bit with lights, like you can see in this map. There's some you see the lights on the tables have this little glow around them. That's actually a symbol. That's not a lighting entity in Campaign Cartographer, but you do see the kind of glows and different levels of lighting here around the bar and the fireplace. And that's done with within map and with lighting settings in the drawing. And if I get around to doing that, I will give it a go. But first off, let's start out by creating a new map and do a little floor plan. So I'm gonna start off the new map, save my changes, go to the floor plans. No, actually the dungeons, sorry. Click next. And then have a look for the annual Naomis Floorplans. Here we are. Click next. And then we do have the size of the map, and we do need a smaller one, so we just don't want to fill up too much area here. So let's gonna go for a 200 by 160 feet. That might even be a little too large, so let's make it even a little bit smaller. Let's make 160 by 120, or 160 by 100. 120 is fine. Size. Click finish, and let's call it a tavern. And here's our blank map from which we can start. So first off, I'm thinking about doing a little city tavern, just a small building, and with a kitchen and a little yard behind it, perhaps. And to start off, I want to draw a rough outline, so I have a shape I can adhere to my with my wall and floor drawing tools. And for that, I'm gonna go on the temporary sheet. Well, actually, we don't have a temporary layer in here, so I'm just gonna create a new one, call it temp. I'm gonna stay on the floors sheet, but I'm just gonna do a color for my usual construction or concept work. And I'm gonna start out with the general layout area, so I just get a size of everything. So I'm gonna say in general the area should cover a rectangle, and I'm gonna have a look up here on the coordinates indicator and see how large I want to do that. Say at the moment I've got a front of 60 and 90 feet going inside, so sounds about right. Let's do that, and I'm just gonna click that, and with that I do have my general layout area. In a full map I would fill that either with adjoining buildings and or surrounding areas, street and so on. Don't think I get to that very much in this map, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do is then I'm going to want a main building. So say that shouldn't cover everything, but most of the front space, assuming the street is here on this side. But I do want a little corridor or pathway along the house that leads into the backyard. So I'm going to make, it's actually a little bit too far. Well, there I can just move this to that corner here. So this will be my main building, and with the guest room, the tavern room in there, and then this back here is the yard. And then I'm going to do a little extension of the house back here that covers part of the yard, like this. And I'm thinking I'm actually going to add an outhouse, guests can relieve themselves, something like here at in the yard, something like this. So now I do have a general idea. This is my main room or the main area of the house. Kitchen is going to be back in here, and then I've got a possibly covered but gate here, and that leads directly into the yard. So let's see. Let's zoom in a bit so I get a bit closer here and start off with laying down some walls. I've got the wall drawing tool up here, and I'm going to right click that to see all of them, and I can already see that I do have we have actually get random walls here. That's actually the setup for the random dungeon designer. That's not something we're going to use in here. That's just a drawing tool that the random dungeon creator can reference to know what and how walls should look in this style. But I've got the default walls here. But I see they are open, and I do need some closed areas for walls in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the advanced setting, look for the walls default, and I'm going to create a new tool, default closed. And the only change I'll make is I'll turn on the closed option here, like this, and now I can draw my main walls for the main house here, and I'm gonna do the same for the outhouse. And then, because I don't want to double up on the walls, I'm gonna use the open option to draw the other sections here. And I'm also going to do the same for the outer court, the yard walls. And there's my outline of the walls of the house. And now I can safely delete my temporary construction lines. So I'm just going to use the erase tool, right click, I'm going to select by color, because I know I've drawn them in this color 1. Click OK, press D for do it, and now they are gone again. Okay, got this here, and now I do want to put in some floors. So for the main room here, I just want some wooden floorboards for the tavern. So I'm gonna click on the floors drawing tool. This is the default one is just 1, so I want some selection. I'm gonna right click the button, and you can see the default tool. But this is basically the one I wanted. So I'm just going to grab that and put in the main floor here. And then I want some cobbles for the yard. So I'm going to use the gray cobbles and fill the yard area with that. And then for the kitchen back there, I'm going to put in some gray tiles, assuming that that's because of the fire hazard, that is use a little less wood there in the kitchen. Put stone tiles in there, and for the outhouse, I'm just going to put in gray stone. A grey dirt background. There we go. All fixed. And now I guess we do need some doors and entrances for our building. So let's click the doors catalog. And here we do have single doors and double doors. So what do you think? Where's the entrance? Could be that people go into the yard first and then enter into the building. But for a city tavern, I think it's more likely that we'll have a double door out onto the street. So customers can get easily grabbed from the main street and enter the establishment quickly and easily. Thinking this is actually perhaps even a little bit small, the double-sided door. Let's make that, how large is it? That's perhaps a bit too much, so let's make it 1.5 size. To adjust the symbol parameters like this is just right click with the symbol selected, and then this option comes up. And there's my entrance into the house. Then I do want the same. I want a gate into the yard. I'll just use the same symbol for that. There we go. And then we do need some smaller side doors, single doors. Set normal. I think these, still I want them a little bit larger here, the outside doors. Like this. So I do need a door from the main room into the kitchen, obviously. We'll certainly have a door from the kitchen into the yard. We'll also have a door from the main guest room into the yard, so drunken customers can stumble out there to get to the privy. And then we do need a door into our outhouse. And I'm thinking I'm also doing a side door here where people can get into the main room from the yard. Alright, well, that looks good. And now we're going to think about some stairs, ups and downs for the establishment. And actually what I'm now thinking first is perhaps some chimney. I was just seeing that someone's saying that it's going to be a draughty place. We certainly do need some heating in there, and we do have some fireplaces here. Right? We can add some small and large fireplaces. Let's pick up a large fireplace. That's perhaps a bit too large for this establishment, so let's grab the small one. Yeah, so we'll have one here at the back of the establishment, or perhaps here on the side, thinking where it makes sense. The customers can sit close to the fire if they want to. Let's put it here. And also one for the kitchen, because they do need to cook the meals and everything. So I'm going to put that one back here. Alright, so I've got a fireplace. Now we do want to think about where people are. There's going to be multiple stories, I guess, in the town, so that perhaps the innkeeper lives above the kitchen, and there might be some rooms on the second floor above the guest room. So we do need some stairs, and we do have a variety of nice stairs here for the style. So we've got the wooden ones with the one railing. So and I'm thinking that's a bit too large. 1.5 seems like a good size. And we're thinking that we've got no windows here so far, and perhaps this side of the building is actually sitting right next to another house, so there's no windows there, and we can just have a stairs going up back there to the upper level. And I want to turn off snap to make this sit not too far into the wall. Stairs back there, so there might even be a bit of an open space here, so a balcony around this part of the building, and then just a second story here, and then even a third story, but that's something for further mapping. Think about. So let's do that, and then I'm thinking I also certainly need a trapdoor into the cellar, in the kitchen probably. So we'll grab I'll make this, whoops, trapdoor symbol, set this to normal size, and put that here in the corner. Go. And if the innkeeper is living on the second floor, then he might have a stairway going up from the kitchen to the second story as well. And so let's grab a gray staircase and put that here in the corner of the kitchen. Let's turn on sheet effects. This style does have sheet effects turned off by default, so we can see what we've done wrong. For example, the trapdoor should actually be on the flat symbols sheet, so it doesn't cast a drop shadow. So this goes on symbols flat. Very good. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. One thing I was thinking, I might put a little bit of a step outside here, so the entrance sits a little bit above the street level. I could do that with here on the pedestal things, or I can just look into the floors. And do we have a second floor sheet? No, not directly. So what I'm going to do is gonna floors. Or actually for now, because I'm not mapping the streets or so on, I'm just gonna put some cobbles here. Just a reminder that if we add a sheet there later, we do want to perhaps put on some steps or so on. That's fine for now. Alright, so that's one thing. Now we'll turn towards the guest room and the tavern floor and put some life into that. For example, I obviously need a bar. So I'm gonna take a look into the furniture catalog, and we've got some benches here, and I think they'll make also desk and cupboards, but I think the benches will make the best bar. Oops, that was a misclick. I'll just grab the long bench here, make it a bit larger, and put that here. So I'm thinking we put the bar in front of the kitchen, and so the bartender can go in and out of the kitchen easily. Barmaids and stuff, or waiters who bring in food, will have to navigate a little bit around the counter, but I guess they'll be fine. And think, there we go. So let's be that our bar. So it's probably just some boards laid across some barrels or something. So let's see whether we have some barrels. And here we've got barrels, excellent. So I'm gonna turn off snap for that, and first off I'm gonna put them like this, but then I'm gonna front the boards. Right, and then we'll also have a barrel on tap. Basically, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a second standing up barrel and then one barrel lying across those two up there. Oh, actually, but if to get at the tap, it should be in the other direction, like this. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to get at it. All right, so there's my bar, and then I want to put in some tables for the customers. Gonna go back to the furniture catalog, and I've got some nice long tables here. And I'm gonna keep at this size. I probably made this a little bit too large for what I had in mind, but I'm gonna keep at this and just gonna have the slightly larger scale here, so I don't have to go back and rescale everything. No, it's gonna be fine. All right, so let's put in some tables. One here, and then a couple this way, not too far from the fireplace, and then some round tables. One here, and one here, like this. Now we of course do need some chairs and stools around these, and for that I want to create a second sheet, because I could of course just put in the chairs and stuff and then send them to the back so they look below the tables if they shoved a little bit underneath the tables. But because they also tend to be a bit lower, and it's actually easier to just create a second sheet and put the chairs and stools on that. That way they'll be underneath the tables automatically, and I also can use little different effects on these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look here. We've got the symbols and symbols flat, but I don't want the chairs to be flat, so I do put in a second sheet called symbols low. Oops, and I should type correctly. Symbols low. That should be between the symbols and the symbols flat sheets. And I'm going to grab the effects from symbols, paste them, and then I'm going to edit the directional shadow and just make it a bit smaller. So half the length, and that should indicate that these are a little bit lower, meaning the shadows they cast are a little bit shorter. All right, and now I can just grab the stools here, adjust the direction. I'm going to turn off snap, and that way I can just, oh actually no, I don't want to put in stools here. For the long tables it makes much more sense to use the benches, long benches. And see, I can now just put them here, overlapping the table, and if I refresh that, you can see the bench is actually underneath that table. Doesn't need to be everywhere, so you can have a gap there as well. Let's leave gaps here. Right, and then the stools for the round tables. We can rotate them a little bit different distances from the tables. You can also use the arrow keys to change their alignment. Go, and they're all nicely below the tables. Very nice. That's looking good. And no need to mess with the order and everything. So thinking I'm going to put in a little pedestal thing here, like a little a stage for musicians playing there. So let's turn on snap here and attach that to the wall. It's could be a good place for that. And we can, this is also good that it's on the low, symbols low sheet, so I can put on other things on top of that, and they'll still cast their normal shadow. But I do want to move this a little bit off from there, otherwise I think it's too close to the stage. And I'm also going to move this a little bit. There we go. And I can also grab some smaller benches, put them on the side here. Turn off snap and put some on the wall here. And there's my pretty nice and cozy looking already, my little tavern room. So it's pretty happy with that. Let's go in and have a look for my candles here with the glow, which I was talking about earlier. And these do need to go on the normal symbol sheet because I'm putting them on the tables. And I don't want these to cast any extra shadows, so they're good when they're just sitting on the table. There we go. One here, one here. So we've got some candles there. Yeah, good suggestion from Sue. I did want to put some windows in because we shouldn't be all windowless here. So let's have a look. We do have some window symbols in here, I believe. There we are. And we'll make this so the size is good. So we can just turn on snap again and put them here on the front walls, obviously. There's some windows towards the streets, so it's going to be the main windows. And we're going to have a little bit towards the yard here, but not too many. And a window from the kitchen here. As I said, no windows towards this side because there's going to be a house directly built towards this. But I can have a window here on the back into the yard. And this looks about good, I think. Yeah, we seem to have decided on a vampiric innkeeper in in the chat, so he'll have to have this curtains drawn during the day. All right. So much for our room here. Then let's have a quick look at the kitchen. What we do have there. I'm gonna turn to the furniture. See whether we have a little bit for the kitchen. We have the fireplaces. We have a stove here. So let's put that up next to the fireplace. And I think I saw some cauldrons and stuff in the. So we've got a good big stew cauldron here, sitting on the fireplace, being kept warm. And then we do need a bit of a big table, I guess, in the square table, at least in the kitchen. Large table. Yeah, let's put a large table in. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Underneath the window here is a working space. And we've got some shelves, bookcase. Yeah, we've got a shelf here. Let's go back to 1.5 with that. Let's put this here. Look, zoom in a bit. Turn off snap and put that over our kitchen table on the wall. What else do we have? Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here underneath the cauldron to show a bit more of the space in front of the fireplace. There, where you can put something like that. So I'm going to put this on symbols low. Just going to cover the part of the fireplace there. And okay, the only thing is the fireplace is on the sheet above that. So what I'm going to move these two symbols flat, actually. Yeah, and there, this way. We still have the fireplace indicator here on the outside, so there's a chimney there, but we have this pedestal sitting on top of the other stuff and larger space for our pot to go. Yeah, so the suggestion for well in the courtyard, that's something definitely I want to add, but first off, let me have a bookcase in the kitchen. It's not the sensible thing to do, but we might put in a couple crates here, a large one in the corner and a small one next to that, a barrel and a barrel on top of the crate, the second barrel there. Yep. Actually perhaps a couple sacks top of this, lying one on here, just some supplies for the cooking. Right, so kitchen done, and then we've got a well here, not a pool. I'm gonna grab the well, and it seems pretty large, make it a bit smaller, and put that here in the corner. But that should be on the symbols flat, actually. Oh no, symbols low is actually good. It will be raised up a little bit on the rim, not just a hole in the ground. Good, very nice. And for the outhouse, for the privy, we'll probably just have some boards and holes with holes in and a pit underneath, something like that. So let's grab a long bench. Set that to 1.5. Put that in here. And then we'll just put in a couple holes in there. And for that, I'm just going to switch to the sheet, color black, fill style solid, turn off snap. Very communal privy, not any privacy really. Here we go. Oh, but they turned up. Yeah, that's probably because of the sheet effects redrawing the symbols. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in a second sheet, symbols holes, and I'm gonna move the circles to that sheet above the symbol sheet. There we are. Okay, so we've got that, and most of the time, well, we have still plenty of time, 20 minutes to go. So I'm thinking I might need a little bit more stuff here in the kitchen. It's probably going to be more of a workspace in the center. And Sue mentioned some dragon meat cookbooks. So that's not what belongs in there. We've got some wood in here, so we could put some firewood here next to the fireplace, just while I'm seeing it. But I wanted to go to and grab a couple books, some cookbooks here on the table. Although I'm not entirely sure a tavern like this would do cooking from a cookbook. But never mind. As our and so should be on a different sheet though. Normal symbol sheet. Alright, then we've got a little bit of space in the yard, and we might just have a few barrels or other things being stored out there, and put that at the back of the house. Some stuff that can be left in the open for a while. Go. Just to have some stuff in there. Alright, let's have a look whether we've got other stuff that we might want to add here. And we've got the well already, we've got furniture, yeah, the coffin for the vampire, but that's going to be in the lower level, which we're not mapping today, so can skip that for now. Oh, nice open pit something here. That would actually work well for putting under our so symbols flat. There we go. Not exactly nice. Bit too far in front to be comfortable. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move the planks a bit. But not this, not this. There we go. That looks nicely nasty. All right, so much for that. So let's see how we can put in some lighting to give this a little bit more atmosphere. Oh, actually, there was one thing I wanted to add. I wanted to put in some pillars, like holding up a gallery above the main room or something, because it's a large room, and in a wooden construction building you certainly would need some pillars to keep the second floor from crashing down. So for that I'm gonna go into the default the walls, and I could just put little stretches of wall, but I want to know the width here just, so I've got a one width line, and I don't want to draw a line, I just want to draw a little rectangle. Let's see what grid we have. We have a 5'2" grid snap activated, but we do need to have a 1 foot square for our supports, so I'm going to switch to this grid. And where do I want one? Oops, I think I missed that. The problem is I, of course, then don't need a width of 1. I do need a width of 0, because I'm just drawing a little square. There we go. And now I'm going to just copy that. One here, one here, and if you want to have that squared away, that would need to go here, and that is in the way of the table there, of course. And what we're going to do for that, we're going to arrange our furniture accordingly, because people will arrange around the stuff. So instead of the long bench, we're going to put in a short bench here. Symbols low. And on the other side, we are gonna put a stool. There we go. And this is gonna be the support beams that hold up the pillars that hold up the upper floor. All right, good. So much for that. Oh, and one thing I'm thinking we could add a little lighting. We did have some braziers and stuff here outside. Didn't we have some lights somewhere? All features. Yes, we got the torch brackets here. So I want to add this to the outside next to the doorway. Okay, I think I do need the other snap again, and my, yeah, oops, don't want them on symbols low, I want them on symbols torches actually. Oh, okay, why doesn't that appear there? Somehow I didn't click correctly, apparently. Not sure what happened there. So we've got some lampposts next to the door, so people can see that this is a place where they can get a drink and perhaps something nasty out of the stew pot. All right, so much for that. We have all the lights, the candles on the tables and everything, but what we don't really have is a sense of different lightings, like different more lit areas and other darker areas in here, and I want to change that a little bit. So what we do need is a little bit of lighting setup, and for that I'm going to right click the display speed settings and go into my global sun settings. Here we are, and we have a 0 setting for the shadows. Transparency. See whether that changes stuff. Oh, actually what I do need to set up the effects on the sheets. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my example map and have a quick peek in there to see how it is set up there, so I don't fumble around here so much. So let's see, I've got this map saved, so I'm going to switch to the Broken Shovel Tavern. See, because that has all these light settings here. You can show the lights by going light dungeon, lights, show light symbols, and then you see all the little crosses here. Those are settings showing where the light is coming from. And on the sheets, we'll have a look here and see where the lighting is set up. All shadows and stuff, glow, directional, the lights, we have our own sheets. And see, we have the wall shadow point light set up for the walls, so they cast shadows. And then we have the wall shadow point finalize on the symbols torches. All right. So let's have a look and go back to our Sue asks me whether you can copy and paste lights between maps. Yes, you can. The only problem is that you do need the sheet effects as well. So they look the same, and those are not stuff you can copy and paste directly between the maps. So I don't have the light symbols here, so I'm gonna add lights. And I'm gonna symbols torches, I'm gonna the point light finalize. Okay, and oh, actually that should be on symbols torches, I think. Copy, paste, delete, and here we add wall shadow, point light setup, and infinite length, so the walls block the lights fully. And then we get the complete darkness here. That's what the global sun, where are we again? Global sun, 0% transparency, but we do want fairly transparent shadows here, so I'm going to go for a 75%, and we just see a little bit of a gloom on the map, which we can now lighten up with our lights we put in. All right, and so what we're going to do, we are going to put in a first light, something we can use for our candles on the tables. So I'm going to go in for and add a lights layer as well. So I just have it organized. Okay, and I'm going to put in yellowish light there. And then I'm going to do dungeons, lights, add light, turn off snap, click on the point where my light is supposed to be. Direction doesn't really matter for this because it's going to be 360 degrees. Like this, and right click for 360 degrees. And here it's a light source. I do want a more intensity, say 80%, 80 intensity. And I want to make it varicolor. That way the light will be the color of the light entity I've drawn. It makes it a bit easier to change lighting later. And okay. And there you can see a little bit of the light. But I'm noticing it's already, it's not very noticeable. I could give it more intensity. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to show the lights here. Okay. The lights are below the symbols and therefore I can't see them. Oops, that was the wrong one. There it is. And now I'm going to use edit. And I'm going to freeze everything else so I don't hit other entities. There. No, I don't want to use keep. I wanted to use edit. And I'm going to increase the intensity to 100. And now I'm going to copy that light and just put it everywhere on the candles. And we've already, especially if we hide the lights now, hide light symbols, you have already quite a bit of more character here in the common room with the lights given out by the candles. But I do want some more stuff, so I'm gonna go dungeons, lights, add light, and I want one here on the fireplace. The glow coming off from the fireplace. That can be a bit larger. Oh, actually, cancel. The direction is going to be away from the fireplace first, and then we're not going to do 360 degrees, but 180 degrees, like this. But let's make the intensity a little bit less, because the fire is probably burned down a bit, and we might give this a little bit of a different color. Switch to a reddish color. There we go. And we already get a little bit of a tone in here. And I want to... Oh, actually, I think change color prior, because I kept it as a varicolor symbol. I actually need to change the color of the symbol and not within the light coloring. But no big deal, it's not very noticeable anyway. but I do want to add a bit more of a color here for the fireplace in the kitchen. So I'm gonna add another lights, add light, this time here, like this, and this is gonna be burning a bit brighter. So 90%, that is very color. Hardly visible there, a bit. Let's show the lights again, show light symbols, edit. Let's make that 120. Probably because the reddish color is in the symbols there already, so I'm not seeing it that much. But I do want to add some lights for our outside the doorway here as well. So I'm going to go back to my brighter yellow symbols. No, dungeons, lights, add light. For convenience sake, I'm going to put it on the wall instead of the exact light source because it makes it just a little bit easier. This 100% intensity, light is very color. Drag prior, go on and to here. Think it's not very visible. I know what the problem is. I've put it inside the wall, and the wall is casting a shadow, and therefore the light is not visible. That's the problem here. All right, so let's grab the lights again, turn off snap, drag, and put that actually on the outside of the wall and not inside the wall. Prior. And now you can actually see, there we go. And yes, Sue has a good suggestion as well to actually put the lights, to make the light more obvious via the global sun settings. I'm going to do that in a second, especially here for displaying on screen. There we go. Now, see if I make the global sun only 50% transparent, you'll see the lighting much more clearly. And you might then want to add some general lighting stuff. So let's grab something like this. Symbol, dungeon lights, add light. Just put one here, make it fairly large, 360 degrees, and give it a lower intensity. So we just have some basic ambient light here that also casts shadows. So there might be a lamp sitting outside of the underneath the ceiling, casting the shadows. And you could then also do stuff like doing a little bit of a bluish color. So dungeon lights, add light, and put that in the courtyard here for some nighttime lights. Since the walls block the light, it shouldn't shine into the rooms much. Like this, then at 60 degrees, 50%, very color. And see, then you've got some little bit of ambient light here outside in the courtyard. Then hide the light symbols, and you can already see the nice little ambient lighting, making the map much more moody and nice looking. And you see we've done all that within an hour. It's 7 o'clock now, and we are done with our map making session. I think that came out very nicely for the hours of work. We of course I would like to add a little bit of stuff around the actual tavern, but the tavern floor plan is pretty much done, and I'd be quite happy to use that for a little game session or something. I'm going to put up the map on the forum, but probably end of next week or something, since I'm leaving very early tomorrow morning and still have got some packing to do. So that's going to take a few days before I can put that up. Thanks for watching, thanks for staying around, and hope you create your own great maps and share them on our forum or the Facebook community group. Always happy to see them and look through all the maps people create. If you want to participate, those places, forum and Facebook, are great ways to share maps and get some advice, talk to people about the mapping. Perhaps see you there. Otherwise, in probably 2 weeks' time for the next live map making session. Thank you very much. All the best. And bye-bye.